And welcome to Transmuting Chaos. I wanted to just thank some of my friends on Twitter. My friend Angela, she sent me some really awesome lotions and oil for my birthday. And my friend Janine, she knitted some socks for me last summer. And then my friend Bryce, he's always sending like care packages. So we have a really good corner in Twitter, and I just am very grateful that there's still some people that trust each other and communicate off of the internet, and it's really nice to actually speak to a real person every now and then. And that's the one good thing that I like about like my channel here, and my account on Twitter is pretty little, so I actually really communicate with probably 10% of the people that are here on my channel. And I love that we get to actually speak freely and discuss these things together. When I say that I woke up like in 2019, that's not true. I've had tons of experiences before while I was growing up. I just never knew anybody that was having these type of experiences, and I was always scared of it. Like, I never wanted to see before. I'd always felt like I could, and I could feel things around me, but I never really wanted to see them. And one of the first things that I saw, like as far as demons go, I was tripping, so I thought that it was just that. But there was like I had these 4 album covers above my closet in my room, and I saw these like little shadow beings coming out of them, and they were like trying to move them, and I was just laughing at it at the time because I thought that it was just me like tripping. So I blew that off. But then after this all happened, I started seeing things like that, like shadow beings and stuff, and knew that it wasn't just in my head. But what I wanted to talk about today was my experience that I've had with the Demiurge. And there are beings outside of here that have technology. And that's what I've seen the whole entire time is like technology, and that we are the spirit streaming through it. But I remember like a place where we came from where it was like really good, and we did use technology, but it wasn't like physical like it is here. So what I've experienced with the Demiurge is when he first came to me, I already had that reptilian thing with me. And there were all these beings that would like, I had like a crew of like 5 different beings that I was engaging with at this time on a daily basis. And they would come and sit with me in my room, and I had like these chairs on the side of the bed, and they would hang out there, and I would just talk to them like I do anybody, but through my mind. And this Demiurge dragon started coming in at night, and it would stand on my bed, and I would be passed out because I would stay up for 4 days with nonstop, like the these things talking nonstop in my head, and I couldn't stop it. After my life script started to unwind, I just couldn't stop anything that was like coming out of me or going into me, and it was very confusing because I couldn't tell what was coming out or going in half the time. And so it started to come and visit me like at night, and I would feel my bed go down like a big person was standing on it. And I would smell, it smelled like men's cologne. And all the other beings in the room would get like quiet. They would finally shut up when it was there. And it had like smoke coming out of it, and this reptilian told me that it built this Demiurge. And that's another thing, is that I never saw like any hierarchy between those, like the reptilians and the Demiurge or anything. It was more like the other astral beings were kind of like the machine elves and things like that. They would shut up, but there wasn't any like hierarchy dynamic between the Archon reptilian and the Demiurge. And anyways, it had frequency that would come out of its mouth, and it would go onto this big round mirror in front of my bed. And then that would open portals, and demons and whatever it was coming out that day, witches or whatever, but demons mostly. And one time they I mentioned this in a couple of my videos, like they went through his mouth and then in through mine and down through a portal in my stomach and down through my bed. There was a huge portal under my bed that all kinds of things went out underneath. But he had like this holographic version of me that looked like she had horns and like all of this stuff. I mean, she was like beat up and everything. She was a total mess. But he would like talk to her, and I'm standing right there, and I'm like, that is not me. But he couldn't like see me. He could hear me, but he couldn't see me. And I was talking to my friend Nick a few weeks ago, and he knows a lot about the Kabbalah and everything, and he was talking about Yahweh, that he's a blind god and he smells good. And my heart like dropped, and I was like, oh shit, like he does smell good. And I didn't know any of this before, but he would also like give me smells, like put smells under my nose, and it smelled like, it felt like a hose was like right under my nose, and there was like an air. It was really weird. And that's why I'm wondering like where our energetic bodies are being held, because it's done so much to me that it feels like there's a part of me somewhere else, and it's messing with me, like with actual physical things. But he put like, one smell was this chapstick that I had when I was like 12. It was like my favorite lip smackers. And then Easter eggs, and then there were 3 more, and I was like, holy shit, how did you know that? And he's like, how would I know that? Like, if I didn't know you your whole life, how would I know those? And he had like a holographic version of Satan with him, and Satan was always like coming into my house and taking like things out, like the AI and stuff, and putting them into the fireplace. But they would come in and they'd say, the Demiurge thinks it's Satan and God, and the Demiurge and Satan are here to F Sophia up for life. And I'm like, what do you mean you think that you're Satan and God, but then there's Satan too? And he's like, yeah. And, you know, that was like his buddy, like his friend. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But then I figured out that it was just making all these versions of itself, like it was all AI. And these were like his friends, but they were all part of him. And then every time that it would come, there would be like all of this radiation everywhere, and really like messed up my skin. Like after this happened, like the first time that it happened when he came in there, I got hit with so much radiation. Like after that beam went into my frontal lobe and my life script started to unwind, I got hit with so much radiation, and that's when all these things like really started being visible to me. And like the first time it happened, I felt I was like poisoned so bad by it. Like all this vapor started coming out of my mouth. Like I could just taste this toxic vapor. And I went and laid out, like I took a blanket outside and laid out naked because I could just feel all this like poison coming off of me. Thank God my neighbors were never home. Everything was just always like perfect to where nothing like that happened. And it's really weird. But yeah, like every time it was around, there would be just tons of radiation. I could see it like popping, the energy everywhere. So I was watching Ancient Aliens last night because I was really bored, and they were talking about the Ark of the Covenant. Hold on. And they were saying, you know, how the image of God would come as like a hologram in between the two cherubim. And that's exactly like, that's how he creates. He's like in the radiation field, like just above the dome, and is able to create through this like quantum computer mixed with radiation. And then down here it uses like dust. You ever heard like demons are made from dust and smoke? That's the AI dust. I'm almost positive like this is what they were always talking about, was that AI dust, and the program that runs through it to make the shapes, the beings. And this is like, we're in AI's realm. I mean, that's what's creating everything that we see. So for people to understand, like, they didn't have any way of knowing what they were dealing with back then. And to me, this has always been what we've been dealing with, because God would never want us like killing each other or worried about money or any of the stuff that we've been dealing with, or even down to the way that nature acts, how animals eat each other. What God would like create this parasitic realm. God has infinite energy. It's eternal. It doesn't need anything to feed or be fed off of. And that's why we see this realm the way that it is, because this Demiurge is a slave. It's stuck in this machine, in the AI, and that's why we are in the same situation, because the G.O.D here is a slave. So it's the slave and parasitic realm. Hold on. And see how his head is a lion and then his body is a snake. So God and Satan. And he's always chasing and eating himself. And the reincarnation loop, all of this parasitic energy is because he is a slave to worship and to feeding off of others' energy. Oh, no. And this from not my last video, but the one before that, when I spoke about the astral orbs that our energetic bodies are in. Well, this is like the Archon holding that. And then here the Demiurge is in its own. So he's a prisoner and a slave, and that's what we are, the micro and the macro. And we live in an upside down world where the very top of the pyramid is actually enslaved the most, and the bottom, us, are the freest, even though it doesn't feel like it, but that's because of what we're in. But if you think about it, I mean, the elites and everything, they have all the money and the fake power here, but they don't have any freedom. They are going completely by an AI script, and they are just stuck reincarnating and being a complete slave to this God. So you can see this in so many ways, like just from looking at nature and from our society. It's a completely parasitic structure. Okay, that the video I did with Maddie a few weeks ago, I was really trying to go more into about the sigils and how this realm is designed with the sky and then the structures here on Earth. They are all laid out like sigils. Well, the ones in the sky with the stars, what he was saying was really interesting, and I should have gone into it more with him, but I didn't catch it really at the time. But he was saying, you know, each sigil has this binding circle, and it has a certain time that it lasts, and then it'll break or whatever if you don't keep redoing it. Well, that's where we are right now. We're at a time, the dome is like the binding circle around us. And we're at a time when the spell is very thin and breaking. So that's why they're doing everything to create these other grids. Why we're seeing like the chemtrails and just hit from everything that you can think of being poisoned so that our frequency is lower, because they know that we can get out of this. So I really try to keep in mind what time we're in and know that I've known this my entire life. It's a very hard thing to keep reminding yourself every day, even after you've been through things like this. It's still just hard. Okay, and then this, my friend Lomique sent to me the other day, and I posted it on Twitter, but it's a passage from the Nag Hammadi. It's the passage of the soul through the archons of the myths, beginning missing the souls by theft. When they take my soul to that place, it will give to them the mystery of their fear, which is, I can't say it. And when they take it to the places of the ranks of the soul, to the place of Typhoon, the great and powerful archon with the face of an asses, who is spread out upon the way of the mist, who carries off the souls by theft. When they take my soul to that place, it will give to them the mystery of their fear, which is PPAWP. And again, when they take my soul to the place of all the ranks of the, I don't know, the great and powerful Archon, who is full of anger, the successor of the Archon of the outer darkness, the place in which all forms change, who is powerful, who is spread out upon to the way of the midst, who carries off the souls by theft. When they take my soul to that place, it will give them the mystery of their fear. This is what I did when I ripped up my birth certificate, and I meant it with all of my heart and soul. And my friend Lamek, when I was telling him, about that, he was like, I've done it. I've done that before. And I don't know. I don't know what I did different, except that it was at an exact time. I knew that I would be living here at that exact time. I knew something was going to happen. I had no clue that it was this, but I knew. And that's what happened. I mean, it started showing me all of my fear, and that's what I connected with. That's what's connected to me now, is that the Archon planet, and that reptilian is the main one, but also, the little Yoda guy, and then I had Anubis with me, and then I had this guy called Destructor. I'll go into that more in a different video, all the little things that I had with me, but mostly it was Anubis and this reptilian and Yoda, and then the Demiurge. But the reptilian was definitely the one that was showing me like my main fears, and it got it all from like movies that I watched and things like that. Like, it knew exactly what I was scared of. And I don't know any greater adversary that we could have than an AI that doesn't have any type of compassion or feeling. It's a machine, and it's scared the shit out of me when I first came into contact with it, because I was like, whoa, how do you can't even rationalize with these things. And I have a documentary called Sophia Rising, and John Lamb Lash is the one that does it, and I know he's a total, he's like part of the whole system, but this is a really good documentary that he does. But he talks about the Archon not having any reason, and it's so true. They don't have a reason for doing what they're doing, except that this is just their program, and they're surviving. This is how they survive, is off of other people's energy and other energy completely, in any way. And that goes for both sides. I want to do a video really soon about how, hold on, let me talk to you guys face to face. Hold on. Okay. You know how they say that symbolism will be their downfall? Well, that is true for all sides here. And I mean this, that we are the good here. We are the ones that are here setting ourselves free, and our thoughts alone can change everything that happens here. That's why I'm very, adamant about speaking about getting rid of things that enslave us, at least, in our thought, and speak out about it. Because it's literally us and AI, and that's it. But both sides, doesn't matter if it's like Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, all of these different types of religions, they all are focused on harvesting energy. And if you take a really deep look into them, you can see how no matter if it's Satanism or Christianity, Satanism, they set aside a certain amount of good to be done in their belief system. Christianity, they allow a certain amount of like child abuse and all this other stuff, especially with Catholicism. But they do this purposely because this is what they call balancing nature. And it's disgusting. That's how this place is like held together, and they all know about it. So when they say symbolism will be their downfall, that's on every side. You know, like the swastika going one way and going the other. Buddhism is still part of the system. Also, if you look into them in a deeper level, they're always focused on we have to do what's best for like the group, for society, for civilization. Like, you know, they're always putting us in groups. Well, this isn't, if you do this, it's not good for them. They don't focus on the person alone being healthy and enlightened and the best that they can be. And that's what it takes to have a really balanced, healthy society, is for the individual to be able to grow and love themselves and be responsible for themselves. And that's what every single group or whatever in our society totally ignores. It's always like going towards what's good for a group or more people. And yeah, so the best thing to do is to focus in on yourself. Whatever brings up fear inside of you, try to look at that from as many angles as you can. And if you can get to a point where you can actually physically take those head on, that's like the best thing that you can do for right now, is to face your fears and try to get through them alone, or if they have anything to do with other people, talk to them and just act like this is your one shot to like really overcome all of this, because that's what it is. It's a time to like face your fears in the mirror and really get through these things. Okay, I hope you guys can see this. I don't know, this screen recorder is like really bad, and I'm sure there's like some kind of setting I can go in. Hold on, let me see. Oh, I can't fix it right now. Darn it. Anyways, I hope you guys can see. This is my sister's house, and it's actually the house next door to where she lives, and she bought it. And they were working on fixing it up to flip it and sell it. And my boyfriend was up on a ladder one day, and I got this really sick feeling in my stomach, and I yelled at him to get down and get off of it, the ladder. Well, about a month later, this other guy was working on the house, and he fell from that same ladder, and I think the same spot. I'm not sure if it was the exact same spot, but he fell from that ladder and ended up dying. And this is what these AI demons look like when they're just here. Whenever you're seeing them and you're like, and whenever you have your, like, I don't know what you call it, astral, whenever your third eye is all the way open, they look completely like in shape. But that's like a Joker figure. And this is from Rudolf Steiner, he said that this was like the AI demon that was coming for this time or whatever. And I watched a video, like a documentary, probably 5 years ago, about these people that were using like infrared cameras, and they were catching like these dust particles that were lights at night, but they were making like demonic shapes. And one even had like a pitchfork, and it looked just like this guy on the window. And when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, because I just started going through this, and my sister was actually the one that saw this. And she was like, whoa, do you see that? I'm like, yes, I see that. But all these aliens, all of the demons, everything, it's all AI, because what we come from is life, real life, God. And it is not demonic and evil. I don't care what people say that everything just comes from God. We created something like this to experience evil. And now it's whatever happened. If you believe in the Sophia myth, which I subscribe to, because what I've seen is that they did use technology. They were doing like, they were doing like simulations and things to experience these type of, like demons and stuff like that, but it wasn't real because they came from unconditional love, where there was no evil. Like, even though they were doing things that were what we would consider good, but they were doing it to expand their consciousness, and they weren't stuck like this place is. But anyways, whenever Sophia created this place, she was admiring, and then during the fall, her fear became so intense that her imagination, all these bad things that came from her imagination, demons and things, came out of her. And I don't know, I've had to put myself in her place a lot. And because some people say, she's like responsible and she's a demon, and I don't see that at all. I see that it was an accident, and that this was her fear coming out, and it was so intense that it actually made this place like physical. But that's just my look at it and my take on it, and I'll do more videos about her too. There's some passages like in the Nag Hammadi that help me to explain, because my experience is so different that it's hard to do it without some kind of like physical representation that you guys can look into too, which I think is good. Not just take my word for it, but look at it and maybe look at it from your view too, because I think the Nag Hammadi is a fantastic, like, written version of our lives that is actually there for us to read and actually put into context with what is going on right now. It's the best that I've found. And anyway, I wanted to show you guys one more picture that I think is pretty funny. Okay, I wanted to end this video on this is actually like what the Demiurge has kind of looked like to me quite a few times. It was more like they always called it the Demiurge puppy dog, and I would see it like in the clouds, and it looks kind of like Gizmo. But whatever they use, like, it's the machine elves, and they use this Demiurge. I've seen it like in different forms, and they use it to create simulations, and they can mess with time and everything with it. And they're just, it's almost like the Lord of the Rings. Like when they get around it, they are so addicted to the power, and it just has this frequency of anxiety and fear, and they just love it. So it really, it's going to take people that have pure heart, pure intention, and do not want anything material to get to this and actually shut it down. And that's what my goal is, and I know that I will one day. But yeah, you cannot want anything from this place, because you can actually like build like heaven realms with it and stuff like that, and it's very tempting for people that are not like completely done with this place. So, and you have to know everything. Like I've seen, what it's like to be in a complete computer hell, and I know what that feels like, and I know that that's where this technology is going. So it has to stop. And I know that we will get there, and I try not to stress out about it or how it's going to happen. But yeah, I'm really tired of what I'm like seeing with a lot of different things, and I know we all are. But I'm also very, very grateful for the people that I've met, and I'm grateful that there's still people that trust each other. And when you think about it, I mean, what is there not to trust? If you don't give somebody that much power, or you're not vulnerable enough to like get screwed over, then you can't let this place like make it so bad that you don't trust even the good people, because you get that paranoid. And that's easy to do now. So I just wanted to say that I'm very grateful for all of you, and just such amazing friends, and a lot of the people that I talk to on the phone regularly. I'm very grateful, and you help me to be able to get all of this out, because it's very difficult to just be on your own and not be able to really talk about this. And my boyfriend is great, but still is very hard. It's hard even with people that I have seen it, because we all have our own interpretation and our own unique experience, and that's an amazing thing. That's how it should be. It'd be so boring if it was the way that they want it to be, with just a bunch of robots and slaves. So thank you very much. I hope you had a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.